with a big World Cup fixture coming up, especially for the United States, who need to win to get through. Mexico look forward to the next round, and they want to see what players they have available for those matches. Let's take a look now at the starting 11 for both nations here in Los Angeles.
Two players getting their caps in midfield, their first caps tonight. On the right side, Chris Klein, his counterpart Chris Henderson, will be running the left-hand side, and Kerry Zavanian, also of Kansas City, will be paired at defensive midfield with Richie Williams. Clint Mathis of the Metro Stars will be the attacking midfielder in the hole behind the two front-runners today, Josh Wolf and Chris Albright. Both of them look very good coming on for against Costa Rica in the qualifier. There was a 0-0 tie in Columbus. For the Mexican national team, Adrian Martinez is in goal. Now remember, this is not the team that you'll see a lot of the qualifiers. There's no Luis Hernandez, of course, no Cuauhtemoc Blanco, he is injured, but there are several veterans of the national team, to wit Julio Davino on the defense, as well as Pavel Pardo. And Pavel Pardo will be pushing up the right-hand side into the attack. One of the holding midfielders is a name familiar to U.S. fans, Hermon Villa. He's wearing number 14 tonight. An interesting player to watch, we saw him in the pregame, is Victor Ruiz, number 20. He too, like Pardo, likes to come on the right-hand side. And then, of course, the Santos striker who leads the league in scoring with 13 goals, Yared Borghetti. He is up front with Jesus Olalde and Daniel Osorno. Now, Osorno and Olalde may play as wingers out wide with Borghetti in the middle. An interesting lineup on both teams, some inexperience, but certainly a very competitive match here tonight. A lot of these players trying to prove themselves to their two national team coaches for future consideration. Joe and Rick, back up to you.
Spent some time down in San Diego, the Arco Training Center, with the U.S. national team this week. What is Bruce Arena's intentions tonight? What's he looking for?
He's looking to get production out of Wolf and Albright up front, and he certainly wants to get a good close look at Kerry Zavanian as an alternative perhaps to Chris Armitz at defensive midfield, and Chris Klein on the right-hand side getting his first cap. Be interesting to see if he or Chris Henderson can get down the flanks, turn the corner, and whip those crosses into the box.
And Rick, a very important game for Tony Meola to prove that maybe he can be at least the backup for the U.S. national team looking into the second round in some of the qualifiers.
Ironically, Joe, at this particular stage in Tony Meola's career, you wouldn't think that there would be any jitters other than in a game like this, where he might feel that there is a lot at stake, his opportunity to prove that you don't have to look at our goalkeepers doing well abroad to find our top netminder.
Our contest is underway. Mexico defending the goal to our left and attacking from left to right, of course. The Mexican national team in their traditional green, white, and red, and the U.S. in the red, white, and blue uniforms. Ball comes down in the United States defensive end. It'll come near side and settled by the American team and settled by Greg Vanny. Ball comes near side and out of play, and we'll have a restart for Mexico.
One of the questions quickly answered in the U.S. lineup, how they're going to play. Henderson on the left side, number 17 in Chris Klein on the right side. As, of course, Ridge mentioned in the open, look for both of them to have key roles in creating offensive opportunities by getting down around the corner and playing crosses in.
And quickly, a foul call against the United States and Chris Klein as he brought down, I believe, Pavel Pardo. And so a free kick for Mexico. Coming from the right side, taken here, Victor Ruiz. We talked about him in the pregame show. Our referee in Carlos Gonzalez talking to the men at the top of the box. Ruiz taking the restart, dumps it into the area, headed out by Jeff Agus and back into midfield. Settled by Villa, back into center defensively. Osorno, he'll go left side. U.S. national team coming out with somewhat of a defensive look here, Rick.
Early on, it's difficult to say how a team will play throughout the entire 90 minutes. Obviously, any team not wanting to start off by giving up a goal. And as partisan as this crowd is, right now the U.S. team playing like the away team.
Mexico controlling, taking it up the left side. Sent into Villa. Villa will touch back. U.S. now starting to set up the defense at midfield, and won by the Americans. Clint Mathis taking it up center. He'll send ahead. An opportunity here for the Americans. Josh Wolf cutting to the right with an opportunity. Fires to the near post, and it's just wide. And we just saw how good a player Josh Wolf is.
It starts with Mathis in midfield getting the ball to Wolf, who has an opportunity to look up the field one-on-one with his defender in number 4, Blanco. He gets him turned backwards, but when he goes to pull the trigger with his shot, he hits it into the side netting. Maybe next time Josh Wolf might look for the far corner on that one.
Yeah, on our first replay, it looked like the goalkeeper Martinez may have been screened by his own defender in front. He had a late dive to the ball. Mexico has the ball back in midfield now. Osorno cut it into center. Llamosa defending, and a foul called against the United States. Foul number 2 against the Americans.
One of the things that the United States players look to do in games against neighboring countries, that is a part of the Federation, the old CONCACAF region, is to exercise their dominance from a physical standpoint. And certainly they don't back down from any challenges.
Definitely, the Americans, this is their home turf. They got to defend it. Free kick here for Mexico. Into the box it goes, and a foul called against Mexico. Free kick coming up for the U.S. Borghetti called for the foul, and Borghetti down on the turf in pain. As we take a look at it again here, he went over the top of Llamosa, and I believe he got spiked to the thigh.
Yeah, look at Llamosa's left leg. As he goes down, it gets up in to the midsection of Borghetti, who clearly is struggling.
Well, maybe a little bit to the right of the thigh. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a little surprised that our referee has opted not to allow Borghetti to get some treatment. Either that or just wave him off the field, so if nothing else, he's out of the way.
Free kick for Tony Mayo and the U.S. Long ball going up the left side, knocked down to midfield. Won by Greg Vanny for the Americans. It goes out of play for a throw-in.
Setting the U.S. defense, Joe, you've got Vanny playing on the left, a Goose in the middle, and Llamosa on the right. With a 3-man back line, really it's 4 players in midfield. And then depending on how Mathis plays from time to time, either 2 plus 1 or 3 up top.
Free kick coming up for the United States. Greg Vanny has that big left-footed boot. He'll be looking back post on the restart. Sends it in. Headed out by the defense to the far side. Chasing it down, though, is Chris Klein for the U.S. It'll be a throw-in United States. Carries Zavagnin, controlling from the Kansas City Wizards. He'll touch back. Richie Williams from the DC United up the right side. Zavagnin cross into the area, back post, looking there for Chris Henderson, also the Kansas City Wizards, and it's sent out of play over the end line. Corner kick for the U.S., the first one of the night.
Get a good look at Bruce Arena. Obviously too early in this contest to tell how he feels, but certainly the United States looking good in getting some numbers into that penalty area.
Henderson's corner going short post, headed out to the near side, another throw-in for the United States. He got it in there with some pace, unfortunately, too down low.
Nowadays, with as hard as guys hit the ball on their restarts on corner kicks, sometimes if you miss by just a fraction, it goes very low to the ground, thereby enabling the defender at the near side of the goal to cut it off. Otherwise, sometimes if you get underneath it, it carries way long.
Now a long ball, left corner, Henderson settles it, left-footed ball, and across the far end line, stays in bounds and rolls to the far side for a throw-in, touched last by Mexico, throw-in United States. Chris Klein is there to take it for the Americans. So as Mexico jumped all over the U.S. early on, the American team now settling things just a bit. Cross into the box looking for Wolf. That's broken up and cleared. Sent back into midfield. Agus controlling, goes out wide to the right side now. Williams sends ahead up the right wing. Chris Klein sends it into the box looking for Henderson. He's in an offside position. First offside called against the United States, and a free kick for Mexico.
One of the things that anytime a national team gets together for the first time is you look for there to be a little bit of a lack of understanding of players, as we got a good look on a replay of how Henderson was a step or so in behind the second to the last defender. The idea is that you really try and play simple and do the obvious things as much as possible so that there isn't a lot of nuance or understanding that's expected out of players, other than if they have a lot more time to work together.
Let's send it down to the field. Ridge Mahoney, what are you hearing down there right now?
Well, you just saw them working on Borghetti's left thigh. Obviously, that collision with Yamosa has caused a little bit of concern, but he's trying to run through it. Bruce Arena hasn't been saying very much. I think he's fairly pleased with the way the attack is finding openings down the flanks. So far, the U.S. is doing a good job of holding Mexico in midfield. Clint Mathis very active, winning balls. It was Mathis who set up that first opportunity for the United States by taking the ball off Davino. Back up to you.
All right, Ridge, we'll check in with you in just a bit. Mexico with the ball at midfield right now.
I think Bruce Arena is just glad to be back on the bench.
You're not kidding.
He's not going to do anything to risk getting himself in trouble. He, of course, serving a 3-game suspension, which will keep him out of or off the bench, I should say, down in Barbados, as well as should they advance the next qualifier after that.
Mexico taking the ball into midfield. Olalde taken off the ball, but it comes back defensively and settled by Omar Blanco.
Of course,
he squares it, Davino.
To finish that thought, Joe, Bruce Arena's suspension came for some unsportsmanlike conduct after the game
against Costa Rica.
Yeah, talking about the referee and his opinion about the not so good job.
Well, I can't, from my standpoint, maybe I'll be suspended, but I can't blame him for being as angry as he was. He or Claudio Reyna, who was also suspended.
That's it, Joe. Sit down.
That's it. I'm out of here.
No, just for a minute.
Villa for Mexico. He'll touch it back defensively. Bad pass intercepted. Here come the Americans. Chris Albright trying to send it right side, looking for Wolf, but it was deflected back defensively, and Mexico will have it again.
One of the things that Albright needs to do is to be a little bit more active, even a little bit more busy in making himself available. Otherwise, Mexico can focus right now on certainly Mathis and Wolf, who've done the lion's share of the U.S. offense.
Zavagin did a good job of winning the ball for the Americans. Unfortunately, he ran out of room and gave it right back. Here comes Mexico once again. Up the near side, a long ball that will go out of play over the end line, and Tony Meola will get a goal kick out of this one. Your thoughts here on how the Americans are playing after the first 2 minutes? Basically, the game has settled down, and like Ridge Mahoney said down on the field, if you're Bruce Arena, you got to be content with things.
Absolutely. Certainly early on in the game, you want to have all your players get their directions about them, get themselves comfortable with their opponent in the field and the environment. And I think the U.S. team has done that. Mexico, with their last series of passes, have also, I think, gotten themselves comfortable moving the ball around a little bit in a manner that we're accustomed to seeing out of their teams.
Mathis going right side. Chris Klein running into the corner. Watched by one defender. His cross going back post. And it's out of play over the end line for a goal kick. Adrian Martinez and the Mexican national team.
Now, ironically, the crowd's reaction off of a not-so-good cross, rather negative, yet it wasn't a couple of minutes before that where a very bad through ball being played forward evoked no reaction whatsoever.
Here comes Mexico taking the ball into midfield along the left side. Defended on the play, Zavagin. It comes into center. Olalde. Back out it goes. Now Ruiz at center. He'll have to touch it back defensively, and almost Josh Wolf stepping in to take it in on goal. Now Almaguer sending a long ball up the left side, and an offside is called against Mexico. Free kick, USA. First offside call against the Tricolors.
Right now, Mexico, I think, somewhat trying to figure out their best way to attack. They tried some short balls. Just recently there, a long ball. Unfortunately, player in an offside position. Thus far, really haven't seemed to find their rhythm.
One thing I've noticed when Mexico tries to play the ball on the turf through the middle of the field, the U.S., at least early on, has been anticipating the play. Long restart from Tony Meola. That's whistled down. And the ball will go the other way.
Albright, I believe, whistled for the foul as he and number 4, Omar Blanco, battle for position, waiting for Tony Meola's restart to arrive where they were.
Now Pardo for Mexico, sending up the right side, looking there for Borghetti. Borghetti can't make the run. It comes back to the goalkeeper, Tony Meola. He'll settle and take it back into the middle of the field. flick ahead by Albright, looking for Wolf. I like the movement up the middle by the United States team right now. Mexico controlling defensively. It comes near side. Almaguer sending ahead Victor Ruiz. Watched by Mathis. Now up to the midfield stripe it goes for Villa. He'll send ahead. Ego steps in front of it, misses on the gamble, and goes into the corner. Left side, Osorno sends it into the box. Out comes the goalkeeper, Miola. He'll settle and roll out right side, Chris Klein. Player down on the field for Mexico. As we take a look at it here on the replay, Osorno brought down hard on the play, and no foul was called. Our referee gave advantage, and Miola pulled the cross down. Osorno up, and he seems like he's going to be all right.
Our referee in Carlos Alberto Bartres Gonzalez from Guatemala is really not taking anything from the players. That's now the second time where he has shown zero sympathy or tolerance for players that evidently in his mind are not really hurt.
U.S. trying to work the ball through the midfield along the left side. They can't do it, but have the ball again. Chris Henderson can't control, though. And here comes Mexico. Osorno, he goes down, and this will be a foul against Kerry Zavagnin and a yellow card against the U.S. midfielder. Daniel Osorno had a step on him and just brought him down.
A little surprised that Osorno doesn't continue to run when he has that step on number 15, Kerry Savagnin, instead opting to go down in midfield, which certainly will give the U.S. defense a better opportunity to organize and position themselves.
Restart taken, header in on goal, goes far side and out of play. Victor Ruiz sent the header in, and Borghetti tried to flick to the far post, and he misses wide for a goal kick, United States. Great crowd on hand here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. Kerry Zavagnin with the yellow card. First yellow card issued of the contest. Miola with a goal kick. Sending up the right side, and it goes out of play for a throw in Mexico. With Rick Davis, Joe Tutino, glad to have you aboard along DirecTV, Dish Network, and your local cable operator. We're in the 15th minute of the contest, and international friendly, the United States home to Mexico. Carlos Llamosa defensively, far side, sends it off of Daniel Osorno, I should say, and it'll be a throw in U.S.
Right now, Mexico stepping up their pressure upfield, looking to maybe cause a turnover that might result in a quick opportunity at the U.S. goal.
Now Adrian Martinez, the keeper, outside of his net. He'll let go. They'll work the left side once again. Davino sends ahead. Back defensively it goes, and back for the goalkeeper Martinez. He can't keep it in play. Goes over the end line for another corner kick, the United States, and a big time mistake there by Mexico. Second corner for the U.S.
As much as it's great to see the confidence the U.S. players have in their goalkeeper Martinez's ability to play the ball with his feet, had just a terrible back pass, which has now created a great restart for the U.S. team, and certainly look for some of the big guys, in particular Klein and Llamosa, to get forward.
Chris Henderson on the corner, punched out by the goalkeeper Martinez, up to the top of the area. Ruiz will touch back defensively as Mexico tries to clear the penalty box, and they do in the midfield. U.S. will control, Kerry Zavagnin. He'll go right side. Vanny back to the keeper Miola. Miola steps into it and sends it out of play. It's twice now Miola's had some trouble with it, Rick.
And the crowd's going to let him have it.
Oh, yeah. Throw-in coming up. Ramon Morales puts it back into play, comes into center. They're looking for Borghetti at center, but a good job by Vanny. Stepped it in front, and a chance for Josh Wolf if he can get the handle on it, but he can't. And it's clear, but not far enough. Zavagnin intercepts a pass. Right side, Wolf taking it up the right wing, sending it into the area. Can't bend it, though, as he looked for Chris Albright to make the run, and the ball will go out of play, and a goal kick coming up for Adrian Martinez and the Mexican national team.
Second time now, even really a couple of other ones in my mind, Joe, that are showing a little bit of lack of ability with the U.S. team getting some good crosses in there.
Let's head it back down to the field and Ridge Mahoney. Ridge, what's going on?
Bruce Arena agrees with your assessment, gentlemen. He wants the U.S. to hold the ball more in midfield to try to break up this pressure, and they're finally starting to get a little bit of that now. For the last 5 or 6 minutes, Mexico has just been swarming in midfield, but now you see Zavagnin and Williams starting to find their teammates through midfield.
Mathis trying to get it to Albright and cleared out by Martinez. Ridge, thank you very much. Foul called against Mexico and a free kick for the USA. Third foul of the contest against Mexico. Take a look at it again here, Rick.
One of the things that Kerry Zavagnin does for the United States is instead of waiting for the ball to drop down, he quickly ends up going to get the ball.
Agus with the restart. Into the box it goes, and out comes Martinez to pull it down. He's looking for Chris Albright. Quickly, he sends it downfield, looking for Morgetti. Good job by Carlos Llamosa, stepping in front of that one, and out of play for a throw in Mexico.
Little stab at a counterattack by the Mexican team, trying to get their top striker in Morgetti in a one-on-one with Llamosa at the back, or for that matter, Olade.
Interesting that Mexico's showing so much confidence in a long ball counterattack against the Americans.
I think they're still sorting. I think they're still trying to figure some things out. The U.S. team doing a good job, in particular, in my mind, out of midfield to really step up, cut out some of those angles, which make it much easier for your back three to go ahead and pick up the so-called avenues or lanes that are opened up.
Throw in U.S. Greg Vanny sends into Albright, flicks ahead, looking for Josh Wolf. Nice play by Wolf, looking for Henderson. And it's cleared off his foot, out of play over the near side. Touched last by Pavel Pardo, and a throw in America. Henderson sends it in along the end line. A nice bicycle kick cross, but right to the goalkeeper, Martinez. That was Chris Albright on that bicycle as we take a look at it again.
Kind of running out of space, and certainly with a little help from behind, Omar Blanco just gives him a little bit of a bump so that really the ball comes off of his shin rather than his foot.
Foul called against the United States. Jesus Olaude brought down by Jeff Agus, I believe. And another free kick for Mexico. Foul number 5 against the United States.
Jeff a little bit aggressive in terms of just getting his body between the player and the ball.
Free kick coming up. Ruiz going far side. Osorno settles it. Corner of the area, takes it into the box, cutting it back outside behind Chris Klein, but Eagles steps in front of him, sends the ball out of play, and a foul is called against Osorno, and a free kick for the U.S. I believe that's foul number 4 against Mexico.
Got something to say when you have a chance, Paul.
Let's send it down to Ridge Mahoney on the field. Ridge, what do you got?
Well, it was obviously there. Remember, Osorno's been decked a couple times already, and he took it out there on Jeff Agus. Good team defense there by the United States. While Osorno was busy turning Kerry Zavagnin this way and that, Agus read that move perfectly and then stripped it, and then Osorno was forced to foul him.
So he's playing the position of sweeper perfectly, isn't he?
He's done that a lot for DC United as well as occasionally for the national team. Obviously, a lot more experience in the middle in that role in a 3-man back line than either Llamosa or Vanny has.
Here comes Mexico working it up the right side and trying to get past Greg Vanny. Vanny does a good job defensively for the United States, but can't clear. But now a foul called against Mexico. Handball on Jesus Olaude. Quickly, the restart taken. Foul number 5 against Mexico. Up the left side as the United States tries to work it off the foot of Richie Williams. It's headed out of play for a throw in U.S. Vanny puts it back in to Wolf. Left side it goes. Henderson. He's onside on the play. Can't get past his defender, though. And Mexico will clear. Good job defensively by Sergio Almaguer.
I believe our referee's going to call a foul. Number 7 against the United States team.
Here comes Mexico into midfield once again. Villa.
Again, keep an eye on the pressure that the U.S. team's putting together out of midfield.
Sending the ball up the left side, and again, Jeff Agus comes over to send the ball out of play. This one was intended for Ramon Morales, who takes the throw. He'll touch it back. Now ahead, Orsono, intercepted nicely by Zavagnin. Right side it goes. Chris Klein sends ahead to Wolf. Will try to settle it just a bit. Trying to work on the right side. Had two defenders on him. A third comes on, and the ball comes loose. But the U.S. controls again. Chris Albright sends ahead, and nobody there for the red, white, and blue.
One of the keys, I think, for the U.S. team with so many young new players to the national team program out on the field at one time is to be patient. Players like Agus, I think, very important to helping the players not get too wrapped up in a lot of the little bumps and pushes and things that the Mexican players do seemingly all the time, thereby being able to just play their game.
Got something, Paul, when you have a chance.
Let's send it back down to the field. Ridge, what's going on?
Well, Bruce Arena's reaction is he's very frustrated at the inability of the United States, particularly Chris Albright, to hold the ball once it's played up to the front runners. Because of that, Clint Mathis is having very great deal of difficulty getting into the game at all because his front running teammates, Wolf and Albright, are unable to hold the ball up until he can get into an attacking position.
All right, Ridge, thanks for that. So, Rick, what do you do in that situation?
I think part of it, Joe, is that you try and get the ball to players as much as possible, thereby doing what Ridge talked about, and that is playing them into the game. Get the ball to Mathis so that he feels a part of it. The other side of it, I think, also is that in Josh Wolf and Albright, they have to be less intent on trying to get upfield to attack and allow the play to develop just a little bit more, and thereby being a little bit more patient.
Patience,
simpler touches.
Definitely the patience is the key, and square the ball a little bit instead of going north and south.
Exactly. Depending on which way you believe north and south to be.
From goal to goal, that's what I'm talking about right now.
There you go.
Here comes the U.S. Chris Albright. Albright through ball. Richie Williams in on goal, has an opportunity. Out comes the goalkeeper Martinez, and Williams sends it over the end line as he was forced to cut to the left. Good chance that time for the U.S., Rick.
That was a great through pass to that man in Richie Williams. Ultimately, it starts off with, I believe, Josh Wolf's pass, and Richie Williams needs to shoot right there instead of trying to get around the keeper. At the speed he's running, there is no way that he's going to get a good touch to control the ball, so you're better off maybe trying to lift the ball up or even toe poke it.
Mexico controlling defensively. Blanco, he'll switch it near side, it comes. Almaguer trots into midfield, lobs a ball ahead, looking for Borghetti off his backside, and it comes back out. And there defensively, Clint Mathis to get it back to Vanny. Now back into midfield, and here comes the United States once again. Albright cutting into center. He's going to slow it up a little bit, looking for some help. Nobody making the run, though, to help him out this time, Rick. Now in the center, it comes to Mathis. Mathis sends it ahead. Chris Klein back into Mathis, just behind him, but a chance by Henderson. His shot blocked by the defender at Almaguer, and out of play. Another good chance for the U.S.
Henderson able to run onto a ball that had gotten behind, I believe, the intended target as Klein cuts it across the box. And Henderson, I think, very much looking to the back post to bend the ball there. Hits it just about perfect, but it allowed Mexico to get a defender there for the block.
Throw-in comes into Albright. He flicks it up high into the air, and Martinez will pull it down. Take a look at it again on the replay. Henderson, the run-on shot, and the defender, Almaguer, getting in the way of the shot, hit off his left shoulder and went out of play.
I think Almaguer thought that there was no way the ball was going to come to where he was, but as it was, the angle worked out very well, because it looked to me like the ball was headed for that far corner.
Mexico working the ball in the midfield once again. Pardo sending ahead, broken up by Richie Williams, but Mexico has it once more. Borghetti, bad pass, intercepted by Vanny. Into Mathis again at midfield, another through ball. This one looking for Wolf, bad pass by Vanny. Out comes the keeper Martinez, and he'll outlet right side.
Not a bad pass by Mathis, but the idea is those are the situations, I believe, that Bruce Arena would rather see his players work the ball a little bit, create a better opportunity by getting some other people upfield.
And also force Mexico to respect you a little more defensively.
Exactly. I think if you try and get down the field too quickly, it's sort of the all or nothing approach.
Here comes Mexico. Olave going right side. Borghetti running onto it. Vanny there defending. And the ball stays in play. Vanny trying to clear. Ahead to Henderson. He's brought down. That's a foul. First kick. First kick, United States. Foul number 6 against Mexico. Look at it one more time here, Rick.
Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Our referee saw it as a pushing foul.
Henderson down, and out come the team trainers for the U.S. I believe that's Ivan Piera of the Los Angeles Galaxy working this one.
Taking a look at Henderson's right ankle.
Paul, we got a couple guys warming up.
Let's go back downstairs. Ridge Mahoney, what's new?
Bruce Arena's just got 3 players to warm up. Joe Franchino, Bobby Convey, and Pete Vagenas. Perhaps as a substitute if Henderson is not able to continue, although he is up and moving around. A little frustration there from Bruce Arena a moment ago. You saw Chris Klein push a Mexican player all the way across the field, but Clint Mathis did not come in to double team. Bruce Arena upset about that because that was a perfect opportunity. If Mathis had been able to strip the ball, the U.S. could have countered, and that was a lost opportunity in the mind of Bruce Arena.
Ridge, more positives than negatives right now on the field, you think?
Well, I think so. It's pretty even, actually. But Bruce Arena is still unhappy with the inability of the U.S. forwards to hold the ball consistently, and that's why their attack has been quite sporadic.
Ridge, in terms of the possible change, it looked to me like Ivan Piera signaled to Bruce that Henderson was done. Who do you think is going to come on in his place?
Well, given the fact that they're a little bit short on left-sided players, that's a very good question. I would think that maybe Pete Vagenas could go in. That's a possibility. Or it might be time to give Bobby Convey a run, although he usually plays on the opposite side for DC's United.
Ridge will check back with you in just a bit. Here comes Mexico. Long ball into the area. Along the end line, out of play. They were looking for Borghetti as the fans here at the Coliseum have gone into the wave. And the Coliseum is full, folks. Almost full. Ridge Mahoney's down on the field. Rick Davis, Joe Tutino in the broadcast booth. We're in the 40th minute of the contest. The United States at home taking on Mexico in an international friendly. We welcome you watching on DirecTV, Dish Network, and your local cable operator. Welcome to the World's Game. Mexico with the ball at midfield. Olave. Near side it comes. Almaguer. He'll go back defensively. Ruiz will switch it to the far side. Taken there. Davino. Back into midfield it comes. Blanco. He'll come near side again on the switch. Almaguer pushes up into the offensive end. Blue ball coming in for Borghetti. Good job defensively by Eagles. And he'll clear it out of Harm's way. Meola was coming off his line as well.
Right now, the U.S. playing with 10 men. Henderson on his way back to the locker room with the assistance of Ivan Piera and somebody